evening. Oh, my camera. Move the camera down. I've also just realised that we've got a big mess. Look, I've just been looking for... Can I ever do this in reverse? I'm looking for some stamps to play with tonight. I've just left the box up there. Hello, Miferis. Lovely to have you with us over on Instagram. Hello, Tracy. Lovely to have you with us this evening. I'm sure I can see there's a few more of you. I'm exhausted tonight and cold. We have been at, one of these adventure parks today. So some of you may know that we've started home educating Kezia. So her and another friend who's also home educated, we were at the local sort of adventure park, which was great. They're old enough to go off and do their own thing. But I've been sat in the cold all day and I'm frozen. Hello, Lisa. Hello, Pauline. I've literally ran down and put everything together, hence the messy background, but we're going to hide that in a minute. And hopefully we'll get on okay. Hello, Caroline. Lovely to see you. So lovely to have so many of you with us. So today we're going to do monochrome colouring. That reminds me, I had planned to show you a picture in one of my journals. So I'm just going to... grab that and I'll find that when we start chatting. So today we are hosting a Crafttober event, and every day we have a prompt. Today's prompt is monochrome, so we are going to do some monochrome colouring today and look at some hints and tips on how to really add a lot of depth to your monochrome colouring. So that is what we are going to be... it is messy, Tracy. It's like... And also I'm a mess. I've not actually done anything to make myself remotely presentable. I'm still wearing all the layers that I was wearing earlier to stay warm. And yeah. But anyway, we'll have fun. Hello, Michelle. Lovely to see you. Okay, so let's just swizzle round, because I'm definitely not looking my best. I mean, you don't tune in to see my face anyway, but we tune in to see the craft. So let's get round to that. So watch the lighting for a second. It does all get very strange and I do apologise, but hey ho. There we go. We are done. There we go. Just checking the chat to see how you all are. Right. Somewhere in this journal, I have something that this is a really this is an old journal. We've got a lot of stuff in here. Actually got round to finishing quite a few journals last year, and I've never done proper flip throughs of them on my channel. I keep meaning to. Sorry, I do have a purpose. We had, because I'm wanting to show you a sort of comparison of how I used to do monochrome colouring, and then a couple of hints and tips I've learned along the way, which raises it to another level. And this was also something we did in live. Have a quick flick through my journal pages. There we go. This is getting a bit of a journal flip. One day I'll do a proper one of these. It is in here somewhere. I know it is. There we go. Right, so we did this as a we were like creating modern art. But underneath we've got the strange parts there that made it like really bright and funky. But underneath there you can see that we have done some colouring, and we have just used one pencil and a blending stump to create all of those various colours. So we're going to use that same technique, but we're going to add in 2 extra things, and those 2 extra things should lift it from it looking really impressive. I mean, it did look, I have to say, I always intended to colour another one up with the pencils and have it plain on this side. That's why this page has been left here, and the funky, because I had an idea here, and I don't know that it was overly successful, but that's how you that's how you learn. So anyway, we'll take that away and we will start colouring. What has everyone been up to today? As I say, I have been in an adventure playground and I'm frozen, but what has everyone else done? Hello, Desi girl. Hello, is it Carol? Lovely to have you with us. We can see a few of you popping on Instagram there. So we are live on Instagram, Facebook and YouTube if you want to pop across. I will try and keep you all up to date with the chat across all 3 platforms in order to make this as interesting as possible. Now let's just take that out of the way because it's reflecting in the light, which is not overly marvellous. Hello, Tessie girl. Lovely to have you with us. You've been working and stash busting. Stash busting's good. I need to do some of that. I need to do a lot of things. Right, so we're going to stamp this up. I'm just going to let's put it in the centre. I've chosen this stamp because I think we might add hair onto her, so we'll be able to see how to sort of extend the image a little bit. And also there was plenty of open space to really sort of practice this technique with, which I was keen to do. Just making sure that we've given it time to, so there we go. We've got our impression there. I'm just going to grab a pencil sharpener. So I'm using a 2B pencil. I think in the past I've normally used like a 6B to do this, but I can't see my 6B pencil. Basically, the higher the B, which right now I can't remember what B stands for. It'll come to me. The darker you get because the softer the pencil is. But we'll manage with this one. Except, yeah, we'll see how we go. So the ink's smudging a little bit there. Right, so the way I've done this is we are just going to, we'll flip to the other camera as well at some point, so that you get it from different angles. But I'm going to go in with a medium pressure into my shadow areas. And we will do it down here. So let's get the shadow areas in first. And we're going to go in with a medium pressure and then lighten that up a little bit. And then once I have done that, I then get my blending stump. Sorry, there's something on my page. Get the blending stump and draw out the colour. And then that way we get a gradient of dark to light, and we're just going to gradually build that up. And it's fun, this technique, because you literally only need one. Hi Sue, enjoy bowling. Right, I am going to come down this side of the butterfly as well. And again, medium pressure, because we don't particularly want to fill that tooth up. So we've got a nice medium pressure, and we'll bring this down here as well. And you can tell that I am working to a medium pressure because I am holding the pencil further back. So this stamp set is back in stock. We did, it was out of stock for a little while because it was on Telebox, but it's back in stock now, which is cool. This has been my most popular stamp that I've ever done. People seem to absolutely love it. Okay. And again, let's get the neck because that's got very definite shadows. We've got definite shadows in the neck area. So I'm going in quite dark there. And down the sides, and then thank you very much, Lisa. And I will bring, and just a quick reminder as well that the discount code for the Hug in the Mug collection, although we're not working with that tonight, I wanted a nice open space to be able to kind of really show off this technique, which is why I've gone for a different stamp to what's currently on offer. But that the discount code for that ends tonight. So we did extend it because we were meant to be on Create and Craft on Monday and we've not been. So we've extended the discount on our own website. But that does end tonight. I'm just coming out slightly softer. I mean, there's a huge contrast now there between her neck and her face. But you just have to trust the process. All art goes through a fairly ugly stage at some point, and it is just a case of kind of, yeah, as I say, trusting the process. So the lips will have some colour, so we will get those in first. So again, I'm going to put a little bit more pressure underneath the top lip and down the sides, because that is where the shadow will be. Then I'm going to go slightly lighter. And then I'm going to use my blending stump to blend that out. You're very welcome. I'm glad you like the new collection, Sue. So let's get her top lip sorted. It's amazing now, even with the lips coloured, it already looks better. Okay, now she would have colour in her cheek, so I'm going to put that in first, and I'm going to go for a fairly light pressure because she would have colour in her cheeks. So let's we'll get that in first, and then we'll start building up the other tones. Quite often when doing monochrome, especially when doing things like this, I quite often just sort of like giving like a total pop of pink on the cheeks. But because the prompt is monochrome, not monochrome with a pop of pink, I'm going to stick to the proper brief. So again, we're going through a stage where now it looks like she's got a bruise on her cheek, so we just need to bear with a little bit. So again, we're going to have shadow round by her nose, so bring a bit of that up, and we are also going to have a shadow near her eyelid. So again, I'm putting that with a much darker pressure and bringing that out. I'm just going to fill in that a little bit because it's the contrast between the dark and the lighter areas is quite stark. I'm just kind of actually going to go in there with my pencil, and then we're going to start to do that a little bit more, that we're just going to start to put like soft colouring in some of these areas, just so that we've got a much better gradual blend. But even though we're still monochrome, because I would really recommend everyone try monochrome colouring at some point. It is a really great way of elevating your colouring style. This is the face on the Shumi paper stuff. It is indeed on the Shumi paper. Hello, Sue's Creative. Okay. Again, I'm just blending this all out. So that it becomes nice and even. But the reason why I would highly recommend attempting monochrome colouring is because you are only working with the one colour. To get it to look right, you really need to concentrate on your values. What areas would be dark, what areas would be light, and it's really a case of having to get those really right. It's a case of, like, if you can get your values looking right, even though the image is black and white, you will get it to work and you will get it to look right. And that's why it's actually really good practice. Quite often, like a lot of like art students and things like that, that you will be taught to, you know, just colour with, like we used to do at school, we used to do like ink washes and stuff like that, just with the one colour, or something like this, or working with like a biro and getting your values through like cross hatching and things like this. I did a series on how to colour. I think it was like one image and 6 mediums, and we coloured the little orange house, and that was quite a good one, because although we were still working in monochrome, but we were working in monochrome with orange, because monochrome doesn't mean black and white, it just means one colour. So we've got a few bits that, like here's still a bit sketchy. Her cheek hasn't sort of like blended in perfectly, so I'm just going to start working that with my pencil and sort of trying to, I'm just very slowly filling up the tooth, filling up that gap, and trying to just get the transition. It's hard because the colour there is darker because you've got the pink of the cheek, the pink of the blush, but it's still quite a pale colour, so you want it to be there, but you still want it. But already we've added quite a bit of depth into that. I'm just going to bring it up her nose a little bit and just have the highlight right down the centre of her nose. Hello Fiona, hello Laura, hello Suze, how are you? Right, so I'm going to concentrate now on the butterfly. So obviously the butterfly's body is dark. I'm going to come in with a bit of shadow here, but also I need to make this butterfly body a little bit darker, so we'll go in quite dark with that there. And then we're going to have a shadow here. The place we were at today, we had there was a butterfly farm as part of it. It's so nice. It's nice in there to warm up. But also the butterflies are so beautiful. Right. What's really good about this is achievable for anyone. It's just a pencil. I'm just using a normal pencil. We don't have lots of fancy art supplies, and we're managing just fine. Okay, we're getting there. So again, this wing is in front of this one here, so there's going to be a much more of a stronger shadow this side. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of a darker line in the folds of the pattern of the butterfly there. Has anyone made anything for the challenge so far? I'm interested because before I did this month's challenge, because I actually put up a poll in the group saying, would you like to do a challenge? And we had quite a few responses, and I did have the option of sounds a great idea but I don't think I would have time, no it's not for me, and yes please. And in the yes please we had a fair amount of people saying yes please, we'd love to do the challenge. And in the challenge albums so far we've had some amazing entries, but I think it's like the same 3 people Does she have a name? No, she doesn't have a name yet, Tracy. The same 3 people are popping their entries in, which means they're going to have a really high chance of winning the prize. But I'm just wondering if there's any particular reason why, if you've not entered, if there's any reason why you've not, or are you planning on entering? It's worth entering. You can win a stamp. You can win a stamp of your choice, and you can get 30% off your next order. So is anyone planning to join in? And if you are, what prompts are you thinking of? What's the challenge? It's in my Facebook group, Tracy. You can also find the prompt list on my Instagram. It's in the top 3 posts on my Instagram. But basically, we have a prompt for every day of the month. You don't have to complete the month, but if there's a prompt, like so for today, today's prompt is monochrome, hence why I'm doing the monochrome colouring. Today's prompt is monochrome. And we have a challenge album in the Facebook group. And then if you make anything following the prompts, and you can follow previous prompt. You're in the Facebook group, but you can't remember. If you're following the prompts, you don't feel like, oh, I've missed those prompts because they were earlier in the month. You can do them at any time. And join in. But I would love to see more of you join in. Right, so this is kind of where I have got to in the past. And what I would then do is really try and burnish with my pencil to really get the depths of those shadows. We might add some more here in at the minute, but I just want to see how we go on with colouring. Right, but there's 2 extra things that if we just come in with an actual black pencil, we can get those really dark shadows. So I have always gone on and on and on about the importance of your shadow areas and the contrast between black and white. If you're doing monochrome colouring, this is even more important. So now I'm going to come in with my black pencil because it is truly black. With this pencil, yes, I can get it really, really dark and I can get a really, really dark grey, but I'm never going to get a black from it. So by actually coming in with a black pencil, we can really just deepen those shadows to a whole other level. I'm just going over this actual ink part there where the stamping would have been, because I didn't get a perfect impression. So let's get that nice and black, because that should have been nice and black. And I'm just going to now come in with the black pencil in certain areas, and let's really just punch up those shadows. Making your colouring look more realistic or have more impact. It is all about values and shadows, which is again why I would really recommend choosing it. I chose this image because it's a nice open image, but I did something similar, as I said, with the orange house in my video about 1 image 6 mediums, and this is why it's like being able to practice your values is really important. Now I'm not going full blown on the face here because I really want to try and get quite black and dark into the body of the butterfly, because obviously that would be really dark. So I'm going to get that in there and just try and almost leave a slight white gap so that we've then got the contrast between that and the face. I'm going to come in with these darks down the face. So now the fact that we've got this black in here, as I said, we have really just helped to give our monochrome colouring far more impact. So don't forget your blacks. Even if I was doing a coloured monochrome, I would still consider having a black or a dark grey in the shadow areas in order to be able to, again, as I said, just punch up that value. So I'm going to go in here. Let's get this nice and dark here where the stamped line would have been, because it's not helping that that's not stamped perfectly. But I'm hoping that you can see the difference between how it looked earlier and the impact that we now have on the image. And the blending on the cheek almost looks a bit more natural now, just purely because we've got the shadows correct in other areas. So as I say, there's always a lot of shadow in the neck because the face is right in front of it, and it's the neck's a lot further back, so you always tend to get a lot of shadow on your neck. Okay. Sorry, I seem to have lost the ability to chat. Okay, and then we've got her eyelid. That should have a bit more impact. Sorry, there's something really mindful about just building up colour and colouring. And I feel like I'm losing the ability to chat at the same time. Help me. You need to start chatting in the chat because I'm doing a really rubbish job of keeping the conversation going. Okay, so can you see the difference by just adding a tiny bit of black pencil in certain areas, how this is suddenly looking a lot more dramatic, and we've got a lot more separation between the areas. We don't seem to be missing the fact that, or we don't seem to be missing the colour, because the image has still got a lot of impact because we've really embraced those, as I said, those shadow areas. I love monochrome. It's something I used to do a lot of, but don't quite as much now for some reason. So it's been good. I actually bought this, which we'll use in a minute, ages ago, because I was always going to do a YouTube video on this, on like the secret to monochrome colouring. I never quite got round to doing it, so today was the perfect opportunity to try and work on that a little bit more. Is anyone else crafting as they're watching? What are we up to? There we go. It's looking all right. You've got a monochrome JMC image from the past. You'll have to dig it out. Yeah, I'd love to see it, Tracy. As I say, quite often what I like to do is, you're knitting a scarf for Louis. That sounds lovely. I fancy doing some knitting again. Kezia has been doing a lot of crochet, and I just can't crochet for toffee. But I think because I've visited so many wool shops and things, I really am sort of thinking, oh, I really want to like maybe knit something. I'm now coming back in under where those black areas were, and I'm just going to try and deepen some of those shadows a little bit, so we've got a little bit more transition between where I've laid the black and the grey that we've got. Not too much because I think it's looking pretty good at the minute. I'm quite happy. It's amazing how I love the difference between, we should just stamp her out again. But I'm sure you looked at it a few times, especially when we put the cheek in and it's like, what on earth has she done? Because that just looks terrible. Because it honestly, when you first do a cheek on a monochrome colouring, it's like, oh my goodness, it looks like I've bruised the face. But now, it's looking much better. I'm just going to do the same thing and down. I think the rest of the face is quite balanced. I could possibly put a bit more shadow down here. You're going to Manchester next week, where the Lewy Body Society is joining all the scarves together and wrapping around the buildings to raise awareness for the disease. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. There we go. It's looking all right. And so finally, I have got, and now this is actually an electric razor. I bought it ages ago, but it has no batteries. And I discovered that I discovered that literally 2 minutes before I was about to go live. So, but it's still an eraser. And it's still, the reason I wanted it was because it has a nice fine tip. And one of the other things is that we can quite often, when we're thinking about using an eraser, you think about it, I'm just going to get another one. Yeah. You think about using it for erasing mistakes. And it is amazing for erasing mistakes, but it is also an art tool in its own right. And you can actually use it in the creation of art. Now, I'm just going to, because it's smudged a little bit outside the face. So this is how we would maybe traditionally use an eraser. Is that we use it to sort of, as I said, erase the mistakes. But it is good to also think of it as being a tool. Now this would look much better if I did actually have the battery in it, because I would get a much more precise. You've not got the energy for crafting tonight, kind of longing for bed. Yes, I completely understand that feeling. Right, I'm going to start off in the butterfly wings here. So it would be good to have like proper patches of white. So I'm actually just going to use the eraser. I could see that this would work much better if it was electric, because we'd actually get a bit of speed on it. But we can actually use it to add highlights. So let's just, I'm going to take a little bit of the colour away from the centre of her lip there. And that's just going to create a little bit of a highlight. Same with her nose. So we're now able to sort of come in. This would have been so much better had I got the actual. You know what? I'm going to actually use because it's spinning. I'm going to use one of the refills, but just hold it because I think I might have more control. And just being able to lift some of the colour. As I said, we can use, now if I was using the electric version, it would have much more pressure and be more precise. But you see, like now we were just able to add that little highlight in, and so it is just an area where we can just help. I mean, how often have you seen me use like a white doodle pen at the end? But it's an area, a way that we can get highlights back in. So we've managed to make the highlight on the lips and the nose a lot more predominant. And I'm just going to do the same down here, get a little highlight going on her neck. And so whilst the pencil technique is really cool, and I love the results of it, just by adding in the use of an actual black pencil to get the real depths of your shadows, and being able to pull up these nice bright highlights using an eraser. I think I'll still maybe do a proper YouTube video on it a little bit more. I think when I'm able to not practice a bit more, but like sort of have examples and be able to kind of go into the tools that you use a bit better. And if I'm, as I said, if I'm actually able to, I literally got down here and the live was due in 2 minutes. I didn't have the time to go back up to the house and grab a set of batteries, but I think it would work much better because it's far more precise and you get much more pressure on it. But we're making it work like this. So can you see the difference just having been able to add some of those highlights in makes? Because as well as you having your shadow, you do have like light bouncing off certain areas, and especially using this technique, you can sort of like lose. You wouldn't be able to kind of do that and leave a gap like that for a highlight whilst doing this technique, because you're literally pulling the graphite across the page. But the ability to be able to use it, add it after, is really cool. Right, I'm just gonna, again, I've smudged, it's because I've got a pencil all over my hand now. So I'm just gonna come around the edges of this and try and clean this up. So that we don't have the pencil smudges coming from it. I might protect this as well, because the trouble is it'll keep smudging. Sorry. I will get there with it. Just need to clean this a little. Actually, I've got another one in here that's maybe not quite so. Sorry, I'm having to concentrate. I've discovered tonight that I can't concentrate and talk. It's a skill that I don't possess, clearly. Right. I'm trying to wipe those rubbings away now, but without going like that with my hand. Do I have? I'll get one of these. Hello, Carol. How are you? Right. There we go. There we go. So, monochrome colouring with a couple. So, as I said, we have done this technique. I've done this technique with you loads with just one pencil. I know I've done it on TV a couple of times. I've definitely done it in lives a couple of times. But if I can just grab, probably spent ages trying to find that page again. If I can just grab this. Okay. So in that colouring, we literally just used this pencil here. But the difference, like if you look into like, so that is a deep shadow area there. There should be a huge amount of shadow in that bit there. And I have got shadow areas, so that's a shadow area there. But if you look at the colour between the shadow area there and the shadow area there, because we were able to add the black pencil, you can kind of see, although it's not like the exact same image side by side, but you can kind of see the impact that using that black pencil makes to your shadow, to your monochrome colouring. So anyway, I hope that's been fun. I am just going to grab, just for anyone that's interested and does colour in their journals, I can link to this on Amazon later. But I do have this canvas varnish. It doesn't yellow and it will just hold in your pencil work. With your pencil work, you can also just use like a really, really cheap hairspray. And by cheap hairspray, I mean the cheaper the better, because it's got less gunk in it. And then just from a distance, I'm just going to give that a little spray. And then, and that will set it. And it means that as it stays in the journal, the graphite's not going to move, especially like when I put something on this page. I'm not going to want it to rub together. So that is as for today. So a little bit of monochrome colouring. I hope you enjoyed doing that. I would love to see your monochrome colouring. If you do decide to give it a go, please do pop your entry into the album that is for Craftober. We really would love to see lots of you in there taking part. That would be fabulous. In the meantime, I'm not sure. I'm not back next week. I might have to find some other days for lives. Next week I'm at the theatre with my mum, but it is also school holidays. It's a bit weird because it's school holidays, but we're now home educating. So I'm not sure that actually is going to feel much different at the minute. But I'm away at the theatre next Thursday, and the following Thursday I'm away on holiday. But I will see what I can do about popping in and giving you some inspiration. But anyway, hope you enjoyed that one tonight, and I will see you around and about, but especially in the hive. So take care,